Good morning, guys. Welcome to the shop. I'm going to try and finish up the motorized lock chamber gates today, and I thought I'd show you a little bit of the video of underneath of the thing and how it's all working. One of my most popular videos, which I thought was kind of interesting, is the linear actuator video, which is what these are based on. This is kind of a bigger, newer, improved version of it. But here's the motor. These are well, I don't have the it's this motor here. It's from Servo City. They're 65 RPM motors. I think these are well, it says here it's a mini economy gear motor, and it's this is the gear head in here, and then that's of course the motor. The motor mount itself, and you'll see this a little bit better. I'm going to run the motor out a little bit, and then I'll have to flip it over and undo a screw here. So you'll get to see more of this, but the motor is just a friction press fit into this channel, which is actually started out as square tubing that just came from the hardware store. It was a really nice fit, so it worked out easily for me to do this without a bunch of machining. You can do this on a bandsaw or whatever if you're wanting to try to make these. But and I'll show you this in a little bit better detail here. I'll hold it up when I get the motor out. But this little notch cut in the channel is where the gearbox slides in, so that keeps the motor from going this way and that way. And then back here, this is the part that fits the motor so nice, so the actual electric motor part of it is a snug fit in here, and that keeps it from spinning or rotating when it torques on the tube here. This is the coupler, and this is just a friction fit or a press fit. I tried to make it nice and tight, and it doesn't need to be real tight. It's sort of a fail-safe safety backup system, so if something slips, it's probably going to slip on the D shaft of the motor, and then this is pressed onto the end of the threaded rod. The delrin is tapped only about well, I did the length of the tap as far as it would reach, and it doesn't need to be a whole lot. It would depend on your application. This doesn't put a lot of force on it. If it binds up, then it's going to break something. It'll either strip this, or it'll spin the coupler off. Could possibly break the gears in the motor or something else. So let's run it, and when I run it, I'm going to be turning it this way. It's going to unthread and push the gate open, so you'll get to see how that works. Well, I got something going on here. Something was binding up. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. Of course, I'm upside down, opposite of the way it ought to be running. And that's how that works. So now let's unplug the motor here and get that out of the way. And I might need to clean the bench today. What do you think? And there's the top of the and then this is just threaded into the gate itself with I forget what these screws are, number I think these are 440s, and this is just a cap headed screw. And in the gate itself, this is PVC that I got from Home Depot, I think is where that came from. I bought several sheets of that when I was redoing the chamber. I'll get this off of here, and then I'll bring the motor up a little bit closer for you to take a look at that. Part of what I'm doing today, got to finish up the extension wires, which is what the wire is laying across the bench here, and I want to clean these up a little bit and paint them gray with some yellow accents. So here's the pivot point of the gate. This is the delrin. It's tapped here, and then this is clearance drilled for the remainder, because you don't want the thread is about 2 inches long overall, so it's going all the way to here, and it's probably out to about here. So when it screws itself in that way, pulling the gate in, you want the end of it to be clearance drilled, so you're not trying to tap the whole thing. You could conceivably, but there's not really a good reason to. So it's clearance drilled out here all the way to the end, and then here you can see my holes for the pin. So this doesn't rotate, this part rotates, and then that's what causes it to move in and out. And then here, let me pull the motor out now. I'm going to have to tighten up the other one. Kind of gets loose. Maybe it's this one that it gets loose and falls out. So there you can kind of see the notch, and you can see the motor. I hope this is showing up. I can't see the viewfinder. So then the motor mount is screwed down in one spot only. That way it can rotate this way a little bit if it needs to. This all thread, this is 1024. This one I think has got a little bit of a dogleg bend in it. It's not perfectly straight. Would have been great if it was. But so when it's spinning, it's going to probably wiggle back and forth like that, and you'll hear it and see it do that just a little bit. So only having one spot's better. If I try to tie that down, it would cause something else to flex. And so it's better that this is just barely loose and can rotate there. I think that covers it. If anybody's got questions about that, or the motor, or how I did everything, be sure to leave a comment. I'd be happy to try and help if I can. I don't know that this is technically what you would call a linear actuator. That's what I call it. There are no limit switches, so I have to be careful when I'm running it and listen to it, make sure that I don't bind something up and then try to break itself by not shutting it down. You could put limit switches on this if you wanted to. That'd be a little bit more complicated than I think I need in this application. But that's it for today. See you next time.